Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Facebook Live, Spreaker.com, KVOLE, Soundcloud.com, KVOLE, YouTube.com, Kevin Olenick, and of course you can also follow me on Twitter at KEVOLE. I have spent the afternoon at a very interesting conference that I will spend more at it tomorrow. It's the Housing Central Conference here in Vancouver. People from all across Canada are actually here from a number of different agencies, including from all over the place. Met a person from Yukon today. There was a number of people from a number of different organizations there speaking about affordable housing, which is not only a topic here in Vancouver, but it is actually a topic pretty much across Canada, as I am learning. And before you think that this question that I brought up today is like some sort of clickbait, that's why I wanted to do a little bit of a previous context. Housing Central, by the way, the conference was not talking about we can end homelessness now. Actually, there was a lot more things about talking about taking steps to improve the situation. There have been a number of cities across North America, including right here in Vancouver, that made a pledge to end homelessness. If you remember, Mayor Gregor Robertson actually made a pledge to end homelessness by 2015. We are now approaching 2018, and for those of us that live in Vancouver, we're not very close. It, as a matter of fact, might be getting worse in some ways. But part of the question that I'm asking today is it actually possible? There are people that out there, I'm not saying that they were at Housing Central today, but if you read articles online, there are a number of people that do believe that you can end homelessness in some way, shape, or form. Medicine Hat Alberta claimed that they ended homelessness by having people in shelters for 10 days and then moving them into housing. There are organizations here in Vancouver that are actually making steps to have people moving from people that don't have a home, into a housing situation where they develop skills to deal with a number of different situations, how to deal with landlords, how to deal with making sure your rent is paid on time, financial literacy, things like that, and transitioning them into being able to talk about this amongst their and improve themselves and be an independent person that can afford rent, pay their bills, and pay rent and communicate with the landlord. So there are a number of people with a number of different great organizations out there that are doing a lot of tremendous work. Now, part of why I'm asking this question is I think that there's a lot of things that we don't talk a lot about or are not aware about. We know now from recent conversations that there's a lot of obviously addictions, and the assumptions of why someone is in the situation that they are has certainly changed over time. I remember as early as 10 to 15 years ago, people were just assuming that that person that you saw asking for change was some sort of uneducated, inhuman person that was just drinking and had no hope for themselves. But people started to hear stories and were starting to listen, and people started to volunteer in a number of different organizations. And I think the conversation has improved significantly about how people have gotten into some very difficult situations. And it's even expanded more because we live in a time where we have students that are actually studying full-time at universities and colleges across Canada that do not have a home. They are maybe they're couch surfing, quote unquote couch surfing, or they actually don't live in a home. There are people that are actually working a full-time job that don't have a home. The cost of living right now and the cost of what people are getting paid is a complete disconnection. Completely and utterly a disconnect in many situations. Many people have a tremendous situation and are very fortunate, but there's other situations that are not. And also, there's a number of places that are dealing with boom and bust economy. Alberta is an example. Fort St. John's an example. Northern BC is an example. There's some people living through some really hard, difficult times. But is it entirely possible? And what are your thoughts on the pledges of people saying that we can actually eliminate it? Is it actually possible? And moreover than that, what are some of the things that I think, the further question I would like to ask, what are some of the things that we don't talk about enough or need to talk about more when we talk about this? Because it's maybe a conversation we don't have enough about. We think about this maybe. It's good to converse more when we think about Christmas as we're getting close to Christmas or those types of times when the weather changes and it gets cold. But what are some things that we don't talk about? And what are some of the organizations that you know in your own community, whether that be Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, or wherever you're reading, writing, watching this, or listening to this, that are doing some great work and making some progress in this? So maybe it's not necessarily that we can have a conversation about, is it possible to completely eliminate it? Maybe that's an unattainable goal, or maybe you think it is. You may agree or disagree with that, but maybe we can have a deeper discussion, a deep dive discussion about some of the things that we can do to make some progress and discuss where we've made some progress. So comment on Facebook Live, on my Facebook Live page if you want to. Add me as a friend, Kevin Olenick. We'll have the poll on Twitter at KVOLE, but I would love to hear you reply. Of course, soundcloud.com, KVOLE, Spreaker.com, KEVOLE. Subscribe on YouTube, Kevin Olenick. And if you want to join as a Patreon, feel free to do that. You can check out Kevin Olenick as well. So that's what we're going to talk about. Is it possible to end homelessness? And what are the steps we are doing that are great? And where can we make steps to improve? Hope you're having a great night. We'll close off and see if there's any comments. So one person said not possible. Some people want to be homeless. And another comment said it depends on your definition of homeless. I would love to hear both of your guys' comments on why you think, Kim, why do you think some people want to be homeless? I actually think that that's a bit of a myth, to be quite frank and honest. I think that's a myth. I don't think that people really want to be homeless. I think that that's been something that some people have mentioned and they've heard stories, but I don't think the majority of people that are on the streets actually want to be homeless. And Jesse, I will love to hear you define your definition. So we'll be curious about that. Keep that conversation going. Hope you're having a great night, and we will talk to you all soon. Bye for now.